Big Z Reviews. Dark Matter is a new miniseries that recently finished as streaming on Apple TV, and this was based on the book by the same name by Blake Crouch. And there's a lot to like about this show. It's very well done, very interesting, like sci-fi thriller that I feel like didn't quite nail it in the end, but I still love the journey.
You built the box. Behind every door in there is a version of your life that you could have lived.
Jason stole me from my world, and he brought me to his world. What if the person that abducted me is me? Hey, fam.
So I haven't read the book Dark Matter, but I think it is sitting on one of my bookshelves to be read. So wasn't really familiar with the story other than the synopsis. But like I love a good sci-fi story, and this is basically Joel Edgerton as Jason Desson, and he is a physics teacher, and he has a wife played by Jennifer Connelly, who is like an artist or like an art dealer, or she runs an art show thing, and like they have a son, Oaks Fegley. He's playing Charlie Desson, but like he's having like just a normal life, and then he's out drink celebrating his friend Jimmy Simpson, from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, like his like accomplishment. He's getting some big award, and he then on the way home, someone like hits him over the head and like gives him a tranquilizer and kidnaps him, and he wakes up in a different universe, and the person that kidnapped him was a different version of himself. And that is the whole idea. That then the show is then most of the show is him trying to get back to his family. And like the whole multiverse angle is a little overused at the moment. Well, I really love the idea of a multiverse, but it seems like so many different movies and stories have been done about it recently. But I think one thing that separates this more than everything else, is how like it doesn't matter that they're different universes if they're not his own. Like Joel Edgerton, he wants to get back to his universe and his family, and that is like so many times I hate that people don't focus on yeah, it may be a cool idea if they're different universes, but if you're the other one, they're going to be the same person. Like you want to be with your family, not with some other universe's version of your family. But there's some really interesting concepts with like this box that like this other version of himself built. Like essentially this version of himself gave up on his wife and or a girlfriend, and she got an abortion, and he focused on the science and developed an actual working box that does like superposition that like can be in every universe at once or something like that. And like it's cool. It's an interesting idea where there's a box, but like they also have to take a drug so their brain actually will accept them like going into a different dimension. And like it's like when they're in this box, it's like this gigantic hallway with all these doors, and each door leads to a different universe. But then like their minds, their state of mind, and what they're thinking affects what was on the other side of that door. And like he's going on this journey with Alice Braga, playing Amanda Lucas, and she is like a psychologist that worked for him in this company that made the box, but like she wants to help him get back to his universe. And the whole thing that like there's that aspect of the show which is really interesting. Then there's the other aspect of this other version of Joel Edgerton, like being really wanting to have sex all the time with Jennifer Connelly, which yeah, who wouldn't? But like but then also not knowing different stuff about the family and trying to fit in, And like, the whole time you don't know, like, is he a good guy or is he? Well, you know he's not a good guy because he kidnapped this other version of himself. But like, is he evil? And there's a lot of like intrigue with it, and like they said, funny that I didn't like. I stopped watching like the second show, and I'm like, okay, but I went back like. It's so tough waiting like every week for another episode. So then when they're all out, I went and binged them more like two a night. Like because there's so much going on, it really helped you watching them back to back. And while I really like the show, I think that it's interesting concept and does some really cool stuff with them. Like each world they go to, like the journey they go on, and all the crazy worlds they see are fantastic. Like it's insane. But like towards the end is like the last episode or two, it kind of just like jumps the shark a little bit, just because like it. Like I don't want to spoil it, but I mean I kind of have to talk about it slightly. But there's they do a reveal that there when he finally gets back to his world, there are multiple versions of him, all that reach back to this world. And it's like, then it becomes this whole thing where there's like dozens or hundreds of versions of him, where like every time he opened the door, he created like a new version of himself. Because, and that version, and the door, any time they could have, like, every world, like, and it created like an infinite versions of him. And it's kind of like, I don't know. But that also means there are infinite versions of the other version of him going around kidnapping other versions of him and creating like this infinite loop. And it's kind of like, it's too goofy. You know, it gets goofy. That's what, you don't want your hard science fiction show or novel to be goofy. And it gets very goofy with all the different versions of him. And I feel like this, like the actual idea of it doesn't really make sense. And the fact that, like, especially his journey was so difficult, I feel like there would be a lot less. Like, most of them would just die. And the idea that, like, each time they would create another version, like, I just, it didn't really gel with me. I was like, I went with it, like, okay, but I don't know. Like, they're really kind of stretching my believability of it. And that the fact that they're all made it back, and it's, I don't know. I don't feel like if something like this actually existed, I don't think that aspect of it would exist. You know, all the different versions of him, and like each version is different and more like because of what they've gone through, and they are much willing to do much different things. But I don't know. Like I feel like they could have done something cool too. Like if they want to do some sort of twist at the end, but they didn't really want to do a twist other than just there's a whole shit ton of him, of Joel Edgerton's all over the place. But there's a lot that I did love, you know. So, but I would recommend it, but it didn't nail it for me. I probably give like a 7.75, 8 out of 10. But thanks for watching. If you want to see more of me, you can subscribe down below. Thanks.